Hey guys, so this is my first live stream in a while, and unfortunately I was having some problems there when I was connecting to YouTube. I think it's okay now. I'm going to check. Yep, seems to be okay. This is the thing, guys. I've moved house, and over the last few months that has been what my focus has been on as far as moving house. Every day I'm doing something different. I'm fixing something. I'm polyfilling, filling holes in walls, painting, and just kind of doing all these odd jobs. And in the meantime, whilst I've been doing all of that, YouTube has completely changed its live streaming setup online, and OBS has did updates and all that. So yes, some teething problems there a few minutes ago when I tried to go online, but I think I'm okay now. I think we're all good. I'm hoping that we're all good, and yes, hopefully good to go. Yeah, it looks good. It looks okay now. Right, that's fine. The weird thing is, when I was doing that before, it was showing that everything was good on my end, and yet nothing was showing on my account. I don't know what it was. YouTube's quite buggy sometimes with that. So, with those problems aside, what I'd like to do in this video, or in this live stream, which will later be a video, is talk about the Apple iPhone 12, or the 4 variations of it. You've kind of got two different versions of the iPhone 12. You've got the regular iPhone 12, and then you've got the iPhone 12 Pro. But then there's two variations of each of those. You've got the Mini and the 12 and the 12 Mini, and then you've got the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. But the thing that confuses a lot of people is the iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 are exactly the same size, and they're kind of variations of themselves. It's kind of strange how... well, not strange, it's confusing, I think, to a lot of people, the fact that there's 4 versions and the 2 ones in the middle have got the exact same dimensions and size and all that. Although the Pro, I think, is about 30 grams heavier. So yes, this is a live stream, and in this live stream, we'll be chatting about the iPhone 12. And if you've never watched one of my live streams before, the way that this live stream goes will depend on viewer participation. So if a lot of people are watching, a lot of people are commenting, I'll be looking at the comments, and what I do, essentially, honestly, I couldn't think what to say there. It's been so long. But yes, what I say will depend on, what other people are saying, as far as, people in the comment area asking questions, etc. So hopefully a few people turn up. YouTube can be a little bit flaky as far as notifying people that I am live. That's something which has been a problem in the past as well. But I shall proceed. So, iPhone 12. I'm sure you guys are aware of the iPhone 12. And even when I've not purchased Apple iPhones in the past, it's always something that has been interesting for me. Because Apple always, if they don't have the phone of the year, they're always like in the top 3, as far as when tech companies talk about the phones of the year. And although I do continue to think that, buying into the Apple ecosystem is expensive and a lot of the products are severely overpriced, they do make nice products as well. And these phones do look really good. They look fantastic, in my opinion. These phones look really good, and they've got a really good build quality. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is, I've talked about this before when I was talking about the Google Pixel 5 that came out. Now, the Google Pixel 5, that's even more confusing than Apple's kind of naming scheme, but the Google Pixel range, Google went a really strange direction this year and released a phone that is still like £600 or so here in the UK, and yet it's got a mid-range CPU, i.e. not a powerful CPU. A CPU that will make the phone usable. I'm sure it's efficient. It can take 4K pictures, video, and good pictures and all that. But it's strange that they've priced it so high considering what's actually in the inside. It's kind of like taking a £500 laptop and then charging other people £1,000 for it because you've made one part of it nice. And kind of, yes, that's really what Google have done. And I think that this year, in particular, Apple have really blown Google out of the park as far as what they're offering. And you guys will know I am not an Apple fanboy. Not by any stretch of the imagination am I a fanboy. Hi, Ethan. Ever since Steve Jobs died, iPhone became lazy and Control C and V their phones just with more cameras. Yes, and I can see some elements of that, but I think you could level that criticism at pretty much every phone company on the market. You know, in the smartphone market, really what we're seeing every year is, you know, a small evolution every single year. You're not seeing radical changes, certainly not from the bigger country. Well, I was going to say not from the bigger companies, but Samsung are probably one of the biggest companies that are taking risks as far as, you know, the Fold concept and a few other phones. But most companies play it safe and just throw in a good CPU and a good camera and go in their marketing blitz. Apple's iPhone range, I do think this year, you know, they've kind of brought in a few features they should have brought in a few years ago. There's been phones in the Android world that have had 5G for, at this point, I think a year and a half, 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know the Samsung Note and a few other phones have come out with 5G. But the Apple iPhone has finally got 5G, and we're seeing it on the 12 Pro all the way down to the 12 Mini. And there's a lot of cool features here. That this MagSafe thing is a little bit gimmicky in some respects, but it does at least, you know, set a base for the future as to what they can do with that. You know, it's the first iteration of their MagSafe technology, which, let's be honest, is just a big magnet at the back of the phone. But it'll be interesting to see how that evolves over the next few years, because I think it is quite a good concept. I mean, I have seen a lot of people talking about the MagSafe technology, and I've seen some people talking about the cases, for example. And it's quite interesting that you can take the iPhone 12, put a case on it, and then there's a magnet in the case as well, so that you can put another accessory on top of the case. But I've seen other people talking about as well, for example, the expensive credit card accessory, which fits on the back of the card. And the card will fit on the back of your phone. And the idea being that you can put your credit card, your bank card and all that in it. But I've seen a lot of people just talking about how easily it falls off, which obviously isn't good. One reason that's not good is because the accessory, as always with Apple, is expensive. But the other reason is because, well, your bank card's in it, your credit card's in it. So they've still got a long way to go. And the problem with Apple with a lot of these accessories is that I guess you're being treated like a guinea pig with the new MagSafe technology, and they're still charging an arm and a leg for it. So to really demonstrate what I'm talking about here, I'll jump over to the iPhone Reddit. I want to show you this. So, I mean, this is the Apple Clear case after 2 days of usage, €55. And look at that, you know, someone's posting the fact that it's not looking great already after 2 days of using the case. And I saw someone else talking about this as well. So this is another iPhone 12 case, and they've not got any cutouts. There's no cutouts for the microphones and things like that. And that's an official case. So there's definitely an element of these cases and accessories, which obviously Apple makes a lot of money from. There's definitely a case for saying that these things have been rushed out to the market without any kind of quality control. So as far as, I'll try and do a comparison here, but as far as, there's the Mac. So I'll do a comparison, but I just want to say that's the Magsafe Wallet that I was talking about, the one that a lot of people say falls off easily when you put it into your jeans and stuff like that. I do think it's an interesting accessory, but it also seems like, you know, from what I've seen anyway, it looks like it's not been refined properly. So, out of all of the phones, it's difficult to say which one is the one to get. Now, they've priced it, at least here in the UK, they've priced it at, I'll do it this way, they've priced it at $700 for the base model of the iPhone 12 mini, and then $800 for the base model of the iPhone 12. And then it goes up to $1,000 for the iPhone 12, and then £1,100 for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is the bigger screen. But that's for the base model. That's for the model that has the smallest amount of storage, which 128 gigabytes, which is what you get with iPhone 12 and 12 Pro as the base model. I don't think that's too bad. But the 64 gigabytes that you get with iPhone 12 really isn't enough when you take the operating system into account. And I would recommend most people to upgrade to 128. That's what I would say. I would say that's the minimum you should do is upgrade. Now, as far as what one you should go for as well, I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of you have a basic understanding of the phones at this point, but what I would say is from my end, I'm attracted to the iPhone 12 mini because it's different. It's smaller. It's a small phone, which is powerful, and it's something which hasn't been done in a long time. We've not really seen phone companies come out with, powerful phones which are small and portable, and that interests me. That's something that I like about it. But the smaller phone has also got the smallest battery, and if you go for the largest phone, yes, you'll get the larger phone, and some people just want the largest phone and the largest display, etc. But the largest phone also has the largest battery. So you're in this position where, I'm gravitating towards a smaller version because I'll bring up my Poco phone. They're calling the Pro Max, and it makes it sound like this huge phone, but it's exactly the same size as the phone that I've got just now. This is exactly, pretty much identical in size to the Pro Max in size, which is why look at that screen protector. I've got another one coming today. For that, so that is going to get fixed. That's really bad. But yes, that's one reason why I'm gravitating towards the mini, just because it's different, something that can be as powerful or it's more powerful than this, but in a smaller form factor. But that is something that I'm concerned about. Battery life could be a problem. Hey Ultra, hey Dozik, or Doazik, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's good to see you guys. It's good to catch up with y'all. They had a display model at the store. It's really sexy. This is the Poco phone with the standard Poco phone case, Poco F2 Pro, which you can maybe see. That's just a magnet that I use because when I go into my car, I go. So this is my MagSafe. This is my MagSafe technology right here, a big black magnet. So I do like the idea as well of the iPhone, that is I can go in and just put it onto my car as well. I just want to talk about the batteries briefly as well. I realise I'm going all over the place here. The reason is that I don't want to go over every single feature of the iPhone. Firstly, because I've done a video about the iPhone as well, and also because at this point I think a lot of you know what the iPhone 12 is all about. But what I do want to talk about is the battery capacities and the RAM sizes, because this is not something that Apple disclose, which has always annoyed me that they don't disclose that. It's annoying. MagSafe works with Samsung's phones as well. Yeah, I saw someone talking about that. Ultra. Yeah, I've always found it annoying that when you go to an iPhone, any iPhone, and you try to look at specifications, when you go down, they tell you the battery life in hours. They don't tell you the actual size of the battery. So the battery life that it's there, up to 15 hours, up to 10 hours, up to 50 hours. Now, firstly, one reason I don't like this is because, well, those obviously aren't accurate. Those are never accurate, never even close to being accurate. It's just, pie in the sky kind of stuff, suggesting that you could listen to it for 50 hours or play back video for 10 hours. We know at this point that those figures aren't correct, but I guess what they're trying to get away from is play the numbers game with battery. And I guess I can see why they do it, but I just don't like it, because I think it's important to know what's actually in the phone as far as battery size. Now, the reason why I will defend their side on this a little bit is because battery size doesn't always tell you the full story. I've had phones, I've had a 4,000 milliamp battery, for example, and the battery life has been excellent. And then I've had another phone that had the same size and the battery life, the battery was not as good. So it doesn't always tell you the full story, because the size of a battery doesn't tell you the quality of the battery. As far as, there's cheap batteries out there. If you've bought anything from China, you know what I'm talking about. There's cheap lithium ion batteries, but also the battery has to work with the software, and how the software optimizes the battery is another part of the story. That being said, I do find it annoying that they don't tell me, because when I'm buying something, I want to know what's in it. I want to know what the phone has. So I want to show you this article. All 4 iPhone 12 models, battery capacities and RAM sizes leaked. Now, this was nearly a week ago at this point. I mean, it's public knowledge. And I saw this a week ago, and it talks about how the iPhone 12 mini and iPhone 12 have 4 gigabytes of RAM. And you can see the battery capacity there as well, 2,227, 2,851. And then you've got 6 gigabytes of memory for the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. 2,815, 3,687. And it talks about it's smaller by 2 milliamps, so basically the same. Now, this is relevant because I guess the most important thing there is the fact that the memory in the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 mini is lower than the Pro and the Pro Max. And that's something that they didn't actually tell you in the marketing material. And to me, that is important. It's important for anyone who's buying a phone, an Apple iPhone 12, to know that when you buy the 12 mini and the 12, you will have less memory at your disposal, which means that, you know, they will reach a certain point when you're opening a lot of applications where the responsiveness and, you know, just your general experience of using the phone will not be as good if it had been on the more powerful version, because they all do have the same CPU. Now, the battery capacity, it's obviously smaller in the smaller phone. That makes sense because it makes sense that the battery is smaller because you've got it in a smaller form factor. What's interesting to me though is that, you know, for a phone of that size, you've got a battery which is only 3,687. In comparison to a lot of Android phones, I would say that the iPhone 12 Pro Max does have a small battery, perhaps because of other components in the phone, such as, you know, the camera, etc. But it shows that, I mean, the fact that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the same size as this phone and doesn't have as large a battery, because this one has, what does this have? I need to check that. I'll check that now. To prove my point, so I'll catch up with the comments. It charges Samsung phones at 1 watt. All right, okay, yeah, kind of pointless. The 12 Pro is more worse battery life than the 11 Pro and Pro Max. They have an extra hour of battery life. Right, okay. Okay, so this, I'm going to show you this. This does prove my point. I do have a point in all this, guys. I do have a point. So my point is, in fact, I'll do a phone comparison. I should have prepared for this. So what I'm going to quickly do to prove my point. I'm going to take the iPhone Pro Max, this one. I'm going to compare it to the Poco F2 Pro, simply because that's the phone that I have here. Now, if you look at them, you can see, I mean, these phones are practically identical. Like, practically identical. Now, my phone is, it looks like it's like a millimeter, it's about a millimeter higher at the top. But by all accounts, these phones are identical in size, right? I think we can all agree on that. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the same size as this phone. Now, the Poco F2 Pro, just let me see all these things that pop up on websites. So the Poco F2 Pro has a 4,700 milliamp battery. And the iPhone 12 Pro Max, exact same size, has 3,687. Now, I can check at some other websites just to verify that's correct. I've seen a few kind of articles that said it was different, but let's go with that being correct. It's quite amazing that two phones identical in size. That one's got 4,700. That one has 3,687. Now, I do acknowledge that Apple have maybe got more equipment in there. I realise they've got that LiDAR scanner and different camera setup and all this. And they've got the MagSafe technology. Oh, I'm good with all that, but it's still interesting that you have got a battery which is significantly smaller in the exact same form factor. So compare thickness. Okay, I'll do that. So Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's got it in inches, 0.29 inches, and the Poco F2 Pro. That's a very good point, to Isaac. So yes, I didn't notice that, but the Poco F2 Pro is 0.06 inches wider. There's an advert. It's 0.06 inches thicker. So yes, that's relevant, but still, I think my overall point still is still true then about that though, as far as basically about the same size. The Apple's maybe a little bit smaller, but basically let's just say these are the exact same size, and yet the battery is smaller. Again, to go back to what I was saying earlier, it doesn't tell you the full story. You've got software to take into account the quality of the battery, etc., but feels like a missed opportunity in some ways as well. Hi Simon, I just can't get back into the Apple ecosystem. So expensive for what you get for your buck. They bore me to death with lacking new features. Android phones try new things like high refresh rate screen. Yes, I would agree with that in most situations. Apple don't take too many risks, I would say, and when they do take risks, it's kind of calculated risks as far as stuff's sometimes gimmicky, but it's practical as well. They always seem to be a little bit late for features, in my opinion. You know, as far as they'll say, look at this, we've got this feature, and Samsung owners are like, we've had this for 3 years. Why are you trying to say that this is a new thing? So they're always kind of late to the game in many things. But, you know, their MagSafe technology, it's a magnet. Why am I calling it technology? But I think MagSafe is certainly something they're taking a risk on. The lack of a high refresh rate, I suspect, I suspect is down to money. I suspect that's what it's down to. I suspect it's down to money. They realised they could have saved a lot of money by just putting in a 60 Hz screen instead of 90 Hz or 120 Hz. Now, what I would say though is the high refresh rates is really good if you're playing games. But I'll be honest, you know, I tried out the higher refresh rate phone a few months ago, and I owned it, and it's good. It is good, but to be honest, dropping from 90 Hz to 60 Hz wasn't a huge difference to me on a day-to-day basis, like general usage. Plus, I found when I had what was the phone I had? Was it the Realme X50 Pro I had? When I had that, I always reverted back to 60 Hz anyway because it conserved battery life. So I don't think a high refresh rate is a gimmick. I think it's a great thing to have on a phone, but I'm also happy to sacrifice a high refresh rate in order to get better battery life. And maybe they did it because of money, and maybe they did it because of battery life. I don't know. Ultra, if you break your iPhone, Apple will make you pay like half the price of the phone to fix it. Yes, and that's another problem with the iPhone, is it is so expensive, and accessories are so expensive as well. And if you break it, you are back to square one, and you are kind of screwed, because if you use a third party to fix the screen, your warranty's void, and if your warranty's void, then you can't get other things fixed. Hi Arsenal Glasgow. I tried many times to use iPhone, I just couldn't use it, just boring to me compared to other phones in the market. I can see that. I can definitely see that, because I mean I've got the Apple iPad Pro, an older version. It's a few years old because I got a used version, but the Apple iPhone 12, the Apple iPad obviously gives me an insight into the Apple ecosystem. It's the same OS, iOS, and I think it's good, but it's kind of it's annoyingly simple at some, you know, at certain points. And if I'd brought my iPad up, I could have demonstrated this to show you what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of things in the iPad and just iOS in general which annoys me. For example, I prefer to use Google Chrome because I can sync bookmarks and different things with my desktop a little bit easier than other platforms, other browsers. But what annoys me is if I'm using the Apple iPad, and it will be the same with the iPhone, say I use Chrome as my browser, I can't change that to my default browser. So whenever I'm using other apps, it will instantly open things on Safari instead of Google Chrome. And they're forcing you down this route of using their browser instead of whatever browser you want, which is very frustrating to me. It's very, very frustrating. I found that with the iPad, it's very annoying. And it's something which will annoy me with the iPhone as well. Doisik, I think they stuck with 60 Hz because combined with the smaller battery would kill battery life. Yeah, you're probably right there. So I suspect money is an issue as well, but I think you're right. They're pushing the new movable widgets is a big thing. Yeah. And Android's had it since like the 2000s. Yeah, the Huawei Mate 40 is out as well, but it doesn't even have access to Google Play, doesn't it? So what I would say, like I've talked about this before, but one of the reasons that I'm attracted to the iPhone series is because I'm a YouTuber. I always put the quotation marks because sounds like a wanky thing to call yourself, doesn't it? It's like those people that call themselves influencers. But for me, it is one of the reasons I like to go. I'm keen to try the iPhone 12 and 12 mini or something like that. is because of the cameras, and it's not the back cameras, it's the front camera I'm interested in, because I record videos like I am just now. And I mean, look at, here we go, where's your front camera? Where is it? True depth camera. Where's your front camera? How does it split it here? 12 megapixel camera, true depth camera. I'm trying to find the selfie camera. Where is it noted? Am I being blind here? Have they got it in a really bizarre way? Where is the selfie camera? I really can't find it. Selfie, I can't find it. For some reason it's not showing you here. Right, tech specs, maybe that's what I'm on. Why can I not see that? I'm going to go to the comparison page, if I can. There we go. I honestly couldn't find anything about the front camera there. Right, so this is maybe better. This is better. Size and weight, camera, front camera, here we go. So this is why I am interested, and I realise my requirements are very different to a lot of people who use smartphones. That's why do you know why I missed it? Because they kept calling it the true depth camera instead of front camera or selfie camera. That's why I couldn't find it on that page. Right, so this is why I like it, is because yes, you've got that big ugly notch, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but you are going to get 4K recording at 60 frames per second with the front camera, which to me is a really, really good thing. Now, I agree with what everyone is saying here as far as Android is normally the one that's kind of pushing things forward, taking risks, giving you more customization options and all that. I 100% agree with that, and I don't consider myself an Android fanboy or an Apple fanboy or a fanboy of anything really, but I do think, for me personally, the Android world is a little bit better, just because it gives me the flexibility to do what I want rather than being forced behind, Apple's very restrictive walled garden. But one thing that still puzzles me is Android companies do not put a good camera sensor on the front. Now, I'm going to show you a good phone that kind of demonstrates this. So I see the comments. They said 5G too many times in the event. Yes, I don't bother with the camera and phones, to be honest. I want a bad iPhone screen to be sharp. Yeah, that's the thing, Arsenal, is like, we've all got different requirements as to what we need in a phone. And I do think that if you don't need a phone for gaming or the latest video recording and all that kind of thing with a camera, you probably should gravitate towards a mid-range phone that has a huge battery. That's maybe what you should do. But I want to show you another phone, guys. I know I've been talking about the Apple iPhone, and that's really what this stream is about. But I want to show you this. So this is the Xiaomi, I think that's how you pronounce it, Mi 10T and Mi 10T Pro, again 5G. But I mean, this phone looks absolutely amazing. Now, the first thing I say is I loved the price point of Xiaomi phones. It's why I like the Poco phone. This phone looks amazing. They've got a very discreet, I think they call it pinhole camera on the front, pinhole. But look at that, 108 megapixel camera system this has got. Now, this looks amazing. This really looks amazing. It looks fantastic value. It really does. I mean, this just looks fantastic. What you've got there, macro camera, ultra wide camera. So it's 108 megapixel sensor, 64, which I imagine is wide and ultra wide, and then you've got the macro camera, which is 5 megapixel. Then you've got your light there as well, and this has got a 144 hertz refresh rate as well. There, I mean, this is just ticking all of the boxes. 5G, 144 hertz refresh rate, a sensible price, which is lower than the iPhone 12 mini. This just ticks all of the boxes. But to go back to what I was saying, if I get these specs up, there we go. To go back to what I was saying, front camera, 20 megapixel sensor, and this, look, 1080p 30 frames per second. So for me, this is one area where Android smartphones have become stagnant over the last few years. I've still got my Huawei P30 from like a year and a half ago. I need to sell it actually, but I've still got the Huawei P30. It's still a great little phone, but that phone had 1080p at 30 frames per second. My phone this year, I think, is still 1080p 30. It might be 60, but it's 1080p 30. The phone the year before was 1080p 30. I don't understand why Android phones are keeping the front camera at 1080p 30. It's weird that they keep overdeveloping the back camera. To me, the back camera is at a point where the camera looks amazing, and they need to enhance this more. And that's why I am leaning towards the Apple phones, because the front camera system is being improved every year. Will you do a stream on the new AMD 5000 series and Intel 11th generation? I'll see. I don't want to say yes because I've got a lot of other things to do. It's something I'm keeping tabs on, because in 2021, I was going to say 2021, but yeah, next year I'm going to upgrade my PC. I want to get something more powerful. Feel for Huawei. They make amazing phones. The Huawei Mate 40, they ran out of Kirin processors. Snapdragon said they won't allow them to use them because of the ban. Yeah, I really don't like the Huawei ban, because I think it's unfair, really. And I don't think anyone wins out of it, really. It's a tit-for-tat war that somehow Huawei have become kind of the scapegoat of what's happening in the political world. Yeah, I mean, what it has illustrated, though, is that even in the Android world, we're all tied into Google's world. We're all reliant on it. And, I mean, that's not a good thing either. I mean, I want to be able to switch to one of the Huawei phones, because Huawei make good phones. The top end of their phone range is really good as well, as far as the processor, the cameras and all that. And I want to be able to start using them. But my banks won't allow me to use any apps. They say it's unsecure and things like that. There's a lot of apps that I rely on, like banking and things like that, and they're just not developed for the Huawei's app store. And that means I can't use it, at least not on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, it's unfair. I don't like what's going on with it. But while we're at it, and whilst you're bringing it up, we'll talk about the Huawei Mate 40. So this is the phone that we were all talking about there, the Huawei Mate 40. And this is, they always have their phones come out, like, was it March, April, and then in 6 months later they come out with the Mate series. And this is it here. I've only looked at a few people talking about this. That looks really nice though. I mean, I like that double camera on the front. Going back to what I said. I've actually not checked their front camera as far as what it can do. But look at that, it just looks beautiful. Looks absolutely beautiful. 90 Hz, staggering 240 Hz touch sampling rate. Current 9000. Yeah, it looks really nice. Quick look at the specs, but I've not really looked at this that much, simply because of the ban and I can't use Google Play. So 90 Hz, they've got the 24-core Mali G78, 8 gigabytes of memory, 256 gigabytes of storage. That's all good. 50 megapixels wide, 20 ultra wide, 12 telephoto, and then there's a flash thing as well, I'm sure. Front camera, up to 4K. There we go, up to 4K. Well, I've been proven wrong about the Android world, but again, this is the exception and not the rule as far as an Android phone which actually can do 4K at the front. I know some Samsung phones do 4K as well. I'm kind of talking generally. 66 watt charging, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic phone, absolutely no doubt about it. That is a fantastic phone, but it doesn't have access to Google Play, which means that all the apps that I've got, aren't going to work. So, I mean, there are a few Android phones I'm keeping tabs on. What I would say is that as far as all the phones that are out just now, well, the major phones, there's phones out every single day, but as far as the phones that are out just now, to me, the Apple iPhone 12 mini is 12 mini or 12 Pro, or maybe kind of top of my list as far as what I would go for. Minis, as I said, the mini is attractive to me, despite the fact of battery. The battery issue is something that concerns me as far as it's not got a big battery. But the iPhone 12 mini is something I like because of the form factor. I do like the idea of the Xiaomi 10T Pro. I do like the idea of that Huawei Mate 40, but it's not something I can use simply because, of the ban. The Samsung Note, the new Samsung Note looks good as well. And as I pointed out in an earlier video that I did, I'm completely underwhelmed by the Google Pixel this year, simply because of its price. Because they've come out with this phone that's mid-range. Yes, it's got a great camera and all that, but it's a mid-range CPU and they're charging 600 for it. It's just too much for it. Hi Flood of Sins, hi Craig. Good to see you guys. I'm back. So I'll go off topic for a second, guys. I'll just say I'm still getting all my office set up. There's still a lot of things I need to change. This room is extremely shadowy, so I need to get backlighting. I need to get... You could probably hear it just now, but this is very echoey in this room, so I need to get like some sort of acoustic panels or something. But I am looking to improve things. Can I just show you guys, right? I want to show you one thing, which I got yesterday, and I couldn't actually attach it to my desk because it fell off basically with the mounting tape. But this is my... This is what's going to power my YouTube recording setup. Look at that. That's amazing, isn't it? That is amazing. 20 ports. Well, it should be 20. I've not actually counted them yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 10 that side. Look at that, 20 ports. So yes, this is going to go under my desk and help me tidy things up. I just can't believe how big it is. It's like a comic. It's just ridiculous. But yes, I've got a lot of things coming for my office to help me record videos, streamline things and tidy things up. I'm still kind of in the process of getting set up, guys. Samsung are overpriced. To go back to your comment, Craig, yes, I would say that generally speaking they are. They are good phones though. I would say they are good phones. The S20 FE 5G is a big killer to the Pixel 5. You know what? I think a lot of phones are the killer to the Pixel 5. I don't think it's just that. I think there's a lot of phones that would be a better option than the Google Pixel 5. A lot of phones. But the phone Ultra is referring to is this one, the S20 FE 5G. And what's the price of this actually? What was the price of this Ultra? So it's 32 megapixel front camera, 12, 12 and 8. Yeah, this looks like a nice phone. I saw someone speaking about this on Twitter, but I didn't see anyone actually show you what it was all about. You know what? I'm going to just go to GSM because marketing websites just spend 3/4 of the page talking about all the camera and stuff like that. I'd rather just people tell me the specs. So this is the phone that Ultra was talking about there. He said it's £600 for 4G, £700 for 5G, I think. Right, okay. 4,500 milliamp battery, 6.5 inch screen, 12 megapixels, Snapdragon 865. Yep, flagship CPU this year. So what else we got here? What am I missing here? So you've got 12 megapixels, 8 megapixels, 12 megapixels for the main camera, 32 megapixel. Well, okay, well, Ultra, you've actually thrown a can of worms in this for me because this can do 4K at 60 frames per second from the front sensor. That's interesting. This is something I'll need to look into. This is something I'll need to look into then, because yeah, this ticks a lot of boxes for me. And I like the fact that it's it's got wireless charging and all that as well. Although you'd think the fastest charging would have been a little bit higher than 25 watts. Yeah, it looks good. It looks really good, Ultra. It looks really good. I thought it was a soundbar. I know it is ridiculous. I'm actually surprised. I'm waiting for Amazon to come just now. So what I did yesterday, I used about £10 worth of Gorilla mounting tape, which I've used about the house to fix everything, other things to the wall, and I put it all the way at the back here, and it doesn't actually it didn't fit because it basically the weight. I should have let it. You're supposed when you get mounting tape, what you're supposed to do is you put the tape on it, and then you stick it to the surface, and then just let it sit there for 24 hours. I didn't do that. My mistake. I just tried to use it right away and it wasn't strong enough. So I've got other tape, but I've also got cable ties, strong cable ties that I'm going to use to tie to the bottom of the desk. it didn't actually fit to the bottom of the desk though. So what I've had to do is I took out the rack ears. So if you look at this bit, I've got rack ears there, but it didn't fit with those ears. So I've had to take them out, turn them around, and then I've put like an electrical tape. I found I've been doing that with a lot of stuff where I've been, where I've had to like adjust things and cut things off and all that to make things work. £600 for 4G, finally get the SD variant in the UK. Yes, that's true, Ultra, because normally you get what's the CPU that Xenos, that's what Samsung normally use. Paying £100 for 5G isn't worth it. What do you think, guys? Is Craig right? Is 5G worth an extra £100? What are your thoughts on the Atari cryptocurrency? I've not read about that, but I mean, Atari is Atari in name only. It's not Atari. I mean, Atari was bankrupt, when was it, the early 90s or something, and then it's changed hands about 10 times, and it's, you know, I'm all for Atari re-releases of, you know, the Atari 2600, etc. But, yeah, I mean, Atari is Atari in name only. I've not checked out their cryptocurrency though. Ah, right. Okay, so Ultra's saying that for the £100 extra, you don't just get 5G, you get the Snapdragon 865 instead of the Xenos chip. Am I in Edinburgh? Yes, I am. So I used to live in Lanarkshire. I'm 40 miles away now, which isn't that far away from where I was, but obviously not ideal through COVID, because I come back and see my mum and things like that. Make sure she's okay. How's everyone? Is everyone staying safe, by the way? Is everyone doing okay? It's been a strange year, hasn't it? It's been a very strange year. So yes, I'm still thinking about the iPhone 12 mini at this point. But if I manage to sell some things I'm going to sell, I'll maybe justify another Android phone, and I can maybe, you know, move things forward. I need to get in the habit of selling things. This is probably my biggest problem of, one, being a tech enthusiast like all of you, but also being a YouTuber, is that I accumulate a lot of products and then I don't have the time, or I can't be bothered selling them on, and then they depreciate and they depreciate and they depreciate to the point where it's difficult to even sell them. I need to have a major clear out in the house. I've put everything in the garage where I've moved to, and I need to go through everything and just start boxing things up and go, right, that's to be sold, that's to be sold, that's to be sold. And I need to start selling things. But the good news is that if I do that, I can use all that money to start buying other things. The Poco F2 Pro though has been a great phone for me. I must admit, it's been a great phone, but I am looking to get something different. With regards to Craig saying, is 5G worth it? For me, the answer is, I don't know. I think 5G does depend on what area you are, you know, where you live. Well, here in the UK at least, you only really get 5G in the cities right at the moment. Now, I am in a city, so I should get 5G, but I'm with Virgin at the moment, and I don't get 5G. I really don't get 5G. You only get 4G at the moment, which isn't really a major hassle for me because 4G is actually good enough. But the reason I'm saying I don't know is because if I had to use 5G for a week or two and I did some live streams, or you know, downloaded stuff or used it out and about, maybe I'd think differently about 5G. Maybe I'd think it was worth it. This is a 5G phone, but I'm just getting a 4G signal at this point, so I don't know. Simon had a 5G phone for a year now, still can't get a 5G signal locally in centre of Manchester. Isn't that great either? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the position is in Edinburgh where I live as far as you know, the strength of the signal, but I don't know. I mean, they're really pushing it. I think one of the reasons that we don't like it, well, we've not liked it so far, is because the network support has been so bad. But now that we're starting to see even mid-range phones being sold with 5G, the networks have to kind of step up their game and start offering it. You know, previously, like 5G contracts were different from 4G contracts, but hopefully we'll start to see even the cheapest contracts offer 5G, and then it will just become the new norm, and 4G and 3G will be the fallback. Massey getting put in place that quick. Yeah. Vodafone now out of contract with SIM only deal. Well, this is the thing I need to review, Craig. basically where I am, I get a terrible signal, like absolutely terrible signal with Virgin or EE. I'm with EE through Virgin Mobile, and I've got a great deal. That's why I've not changed it yet, despite the fact I don't get a good signal in the house. But I get a terrible signal here. And the only company that I could get a good signal with is O2, but O2's plans are so ridiculously expensive, annoyingly expensive for what you get. So I would be paying more to go from like, say 300 gigabytes of data per month to like 40, and I'd be paying like an extra £10 or something. But that's not an issue for me because outside the house the coverage is great. So all I need is Wi-Fi calling. Now, this is one of the things I don't talk about enough, but I probably should. When you buy Chinese phones, things like Wi-Fi calling it's just not supported that well by networks. You know, so like for example, with Virgin, with the company that I'm with, they support Samsung phones, they support a few other brands, they support Apple phones for Wi-Fi calling, but you can't get it through this. Despite the fact I've enabled it in the settings area, I don't get Wi-Fi calling. So what that means is normally Wi-Fi calling would pick up the dead spots and you'd still get your signal and you'd still be able to receive calls. I'm not getting that right now, but I will get that with the Apple iPhone. How's your BT Fiber 900 going? Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know how this will be affected. I don't know how this will be affected whilst I'm doing a live stream. I suspect it'll be a little bit slower. But for those of you who don't know, I mean, I've effectively got a gigabit connection. That's effectively what I've got. Now, I've got BT Fiber. I mean, if you saw my video, you have a better understanding as to how my home network is. But I've got BT Fiber coming into the house, going to the modem. Then I fire it through the walls, basically through a Cat5e connection. And then I put it into the BT router, the hub. Now, they've actually, to their credit, they have actually sent out new phones, copper phones, which means that I will now get, I can now replace the router now. So I'm going to replace the router. So the speed that you see here, I'll just cancel this because it's taking ages for the upload part, but the speed that you see there of like 700, 800 for download, that there's potential for that going up when I use a better router. Latency and things like that might be better. So it's just the customer service with BT has been terrible, absolutely terrible from start to finish, but I'm hoping to get it resolved soon. Craig, I've been with most companies over the years, but O2 is one of the ones I've never been with. For some reason, they don't appeal to me. I think you were Virgin previously. Didn't you fancy going with them again? Yes, I did actually, but they're not in the area. It's not an option. I don't know why. Like, it's just BT is this area, Virgin aren't here. I suspect Virgin have looked at the fact that everyone's already with different BT companies, and they've probably looked at the cost of coming into the estate, and then they've realised it's not worth it at this time. So I don't have it. Hyper optic or community fiber, but you need to register for interest. That's the problem. Yeah, I mean across the board, it's kind of been slow. Excuse me, it's been slow as far as the rollout of all this. And the thing is, I've always had high requirements for internet because I work on the internet. As far as uploads go, anyway, downloads I don't actually care as much as other people. Bizarrely, there's people who don't even work on the internet who want higher download speeds for different things. But upload has been the most important thing for me. But we've seen the general public does need faster internet for Netflix, for different things. I mean, I noticed that when I was at my girlfriend's house, she's my wife now, married her. When I was at her house recently, she's got the worst internet connection ever, to the point where if you watch anything on Netflix, the internet's unusable. And if you start checking your phone, Netflix starts buffering. That's how bad it is. And really, we should be at the point where even poor connections can handle Netflix and downloading and uploading and games and VoIP all at the same time. Hi Pat, welcome to the stream. Looking forward to 5G. So what phone have you got just now, Pat? In fact, I'll open this up to everyone. What phones have you got just now? And are you using 5G? My Wi-Fi got upgraded last Saturday. Okay. So what kind of speeds are you getting, Ultra? I'm just going to look at... Discovery the last Saturday. Right, okay. So I think I will order the iPhone 12 mini. That's probably one of the phones that's kind of top of my list. I like the idea of... I like the idea of what it can do with the front camera. It looks quite impressive. And I like the fact it's got a smaller form factor. To me, this is different enough for me to order it. But I need to keep tabs on some of their Android phones as well, because there's a lot of things coming out that look good in the Android world as well. I need to actually get in the habit of using two phones at the same time, which is not something I've got used to. I hate having to switch things around and syncing things and all that. But yeah, I'll see how I got on. Up to 516, that's pretty good. 36, 37. To be honest, see if I had that here, I would have been very happy. I think anything over that is a real bonus. What I would say though, the one thing I should have done years ago with my Virgin connection was change the router. I should have changed the router to something else. I got lazy because the house was quite small. I used the power line adapters to send the internet to the upstairs. And because it was such a small house, I really didn't have any problems with Wi-Fi or anything. So it wasn't an urgent need for me to replace anything. But I think looking back, I wish I upgraded to get faster improved latency, lower latency, faster download speeds and all that. Yeah, and that's what I'll be doing in the next few weeks. I'm still swaying between a few different routers. I've looked at some open source solutions as well. You can actually convert PCs to routers as well. But I'm looking at a few different options just now, and I'll pull the trigger on something. The reason I've been holding back on it, not to diverge too much from smartphones, but the reason that I've kind of taking my time a little bit with the router that I'm using is because I'm also looking at different access points as far as, distributing Wi-Fi about the house, but I'm also looking at cameras and different things for security, and I need to think about how all of that ties together as far as bandwidth and all that. Two phones, does that mean two SIMs? No, Craig, the thing is, well, this is something, you've actually touched upon something that I think needs to change as well. I would like to be able to switch between different phones and not have any issues with doing that. And what I mean is, I would like to be able to pick up an Android phone every day and then pick up my iPhone or the Android phone and just pick them up and have this, have everything synced together as far as if the call goes through, it goes to the one that I choose that day. Maybe something where I can say, divert calls to this SIM card instead of that SIM card today, or something like that. But it's quite hard to do that because even things like WhatsApp, everything gets tied to the one number rather than an account. So WhatsApp ties everything to the number, and then you need to disassociate your account with the number until you associate it with something else. Ideally, I'd love to associate WhatsApp with, my browser, my phone, and with anything else. Really, WhatsApp should be in the cloud instead of just with your phone. Things like that, as far as, kind of moving between different devices, I don't think the phone world is there yet. But, the reason I'm saying that is because when I used to have an Apple iMac, and I did like my iMac, but I switched between an iMac to my Windows computer every single day. Like I would use an iMac during the day and then use my Windows laptop at night. And there was absolutely no problem doing that because every application I used on my iMac was cross-platform, i.e. it could be installed on a Mac or Windows. So it didn't matter what computer I was on. But we don't have that yet with iPhones or even two Android phones, where you can seamlessly just pick up a different device and access the same text messages and calls and different things. I realize it's a little bit different, with a smartphone, because just the way that a phone works, as far as you've got one number and then everything routes to there. But I would like to be able to just switch between devices a lot easier, because I would, switch phones more often. Simon, sorry, I'm a little bit late with the comments here. Simon, BT are a joke. Customer service is the worst. I have the Huawei Mate 20X 5G, over 300 megabits when I get a 5G signal instead of 40. I'll do a live kind of, see if I can do a live test for you guys to show you the speed of my phone. 9 and hi, good to see you. Some phones can have 2 SIM cards. No, Flood of Sins, I think you get mixed up with what I'm saying. This phone has actually got 2 SIM cards in it just now, which... Do I have my... Can I show you that just now? Where is my... No, it's downstairs. I was trying to see if I had my SIM card thing. I could actually show you that. Let's see if I can show you that. Let's see if I can show you that. Let's see if I can do this live. I believe, in here somewhere. Right, let me see. Do I have this? Do I have what I'm looking for? No, I do not. What I'm looking for, and what I used to have, this is the problem when you move house, you forget where everything is. What I was looking for there was the SIM card ejector tool so that I could show you what's in my phone. But I can show you another way. And if I turn on my overhead camera, maybe this will be easier. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. So, yeah, right. So, what I need to do first is change that to Dual 4G, right. See if I can do this. Let's see if I can do this. Select a character from Outlook. Your data SIM. What is this? Right, it's not letting me do this. What I'm trying to do is show you that I've got 2 SIM cards in here already, but it's not allowing me to do that, I think because it's defaulting to 5G. So let's see if I can do it another way. No, okay, maybe giffgaff. I think giffgaff have actually deactivated my SIM card. But I do have, if you can see it here, I do have 2 SIM cards in that. I've got a giffgaff SIM, which is the O2 network, which, is this going to show you? No, it's not on. Why is that not showing? Right, my overhead camera, I'll need to double check that, why that's not showing. If you can hold on 2 seconds, I can show you. Overhead camera. No, not working. It's not working, guys. Right, so that's how I'm going to have to do it. But I've got 2 SIM cards in there. But that's not what I was talking about. Switching between networks isn't a problem. It's switching between phones that I think is the problem. As far as one SIM card, but across multiple devices, that's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see. But it's not something which you can do right now. I'm even further behind the comments now. Simon, BT are a joke. Customer service is the worst. I have the Huawei Mate 20X 5G over 300 megabits. For those things, I'm thinking about the LG V55G. Right, I'll check that out. Speaking about routers, a lot of YouTube's posted unboxing videos on the PS5 today. Oh, nice. Well, it's I'm going for the Xbox simply because all my friends are on Xbox. I normally get the PS5, the PS4, or the PlayStation, but I don't know whether to get both. I don't think I need to get both. Craig's got the iPhone XS Max. 9andal's got the iPhone XR. Ultra's got the Oppo Reno Z or Z. 9andal's switched to the Samsung A7. Hi, Jimmy Ueno. iPhones are so overhyped, to be honest. To me, iPhones are just like about 100 or 200 too more, too expensive for what they are. But if they were a little bit cheaper, I think more people would jump on board with them, which is a surprise they haven't made it cheaper because they make so much with accessories. V55G. Is it the thin Q? Is that the one you're talking about? I think this is the one that Flood of Sins is talking about. This one. The V50 thin Q. Is that from last year? Yeah. Early last year. What I would say, Ultra, though, is that they are super fast. The latest iPhone 12s have got like the fastest CPU on the market, without doubt, and that's something which is good. If you're playing games, if you're taking a lot of videos, photos, you're going to get good performance with that. Battery life is the biggest concern for me with the whole Apple iPhone range. I think that is the biggest concern. Huawei phones lose their value so much. Well, that's the other thing. Ultra. If you take into account the resale value of a phone when you buy it, then there is a good argument that Apple iPhones are worth the money. In so much that iPhones are desirable and they're very easy to sell. Whereas when you sell an Android phone a year or so later, they're not worth as much. Now, I'll give you an example. The Huawei P30 that I've got downstairs, when it was launched, you know, the RRP, the recommended retail price, was about 600 or so, 400, 500, 600. It was at the kind of higher end. But now reselling it after a year, year and a half, I'd maybe get 150. Now, if I had bought an iPhone around that time for about 600, I would reckon I would maybe get another 150 now, and when compared to that phone. Now, it's not something I think about as much because I'd rather save money in the first place than having to try and sell it on later at a higher price. And I'm all for paying premium prices as well. I don't mind paying premium prices for good products. There's a lot of things. I mean, you guys can't see this obviously because, you know, it's behind the scenes, but there's a lot of things that I buy, microphones, cameras, and all this other stuff. And they're the most expensive option for me. Well, one of the most expensive options. And I've spent literally tens of thousands on equipment. And a lot of this stuff, I pay extra because I want the best to last me longer. Because I realized quite quickly on YouTube, at least from a production point of view, that yes, you can go as high as you want and you can spend 30 grand on a camera if you want. But if you go at the other end and you buy cheap stuff, a lot of the time you buy cheap, you buy twice. You know, for this kind of stuff. So I'm not afraid to spend money when it's a good product. But smartphones are things that, you know, we change. Well, I change so much, you know, at least every year, perhaps every 6 months, that I like to get good value for what I buy. But that's something I would say for everything that I buy as well. That is, I'm not afraid to spend money on a premium product, but I do want that product to be good. And I see this a lot in the computing world as well, where, for example, laptops, where there's a laptop that offers a lot of value, and then there's something that just, you know, is maybe marketed as being something a little bit better. But under the hood, it's the same CPU, same GPU and all that. They've just made something look a little bit nicer and they've charged like an extra 600 for it. The Black Shark phone. It's interesting you've said that, Ninando, because I really was close to buying that Black Shark phone. Black Shark 3 Pro, I think it was, I was looking at. I was very close to buying that, Ninando, right? Very close. I think when I was looking at it, the 9 was out, but the 9 Pro wasn't out. Now, for those of you who don't know, this thing is an absolute beast. It's a powerhouse. I mean, this thing is ridiculous. I mean, look at this: 65 watt charging, 5,000 milliamp dual battery. And what that means is this battery is so big, and to enable fast charging, they had to split the battery and have 2 batteries rather than 1. A 7.1 inch 2K screen. I mean, this has got a 7-inch screen. Snapdragon 865, DDR5 memory, UFS 3.0. That's the storage, so you'll get faster read and write times. 90 Hz refresh rate, master triggers, Wi-Fi 6 as well. Now, this was an absolute beast. It's huge, and it's the same for the Black Shark 3. Now, what put me off, what I was conscious of when, oh, you've got a magnetic charging port as well. What I was conscious of before I spent a lot of money on this, because it was selling for like 500, 600 or something like that. What I was concerned about was the fact that resale value would be very, very poor, but not just resale value. There is a very limited market to selling those phones, as far as there's only so many people that would actually want to buy it. And the people that would want to buy a dedicated gaming phone, I would say a lot of those people want to buy the latest, you know, gaming smartphone rather than one which is like a year or 2 old. So yeah, it's interesting though. I look at phones like that, and I don't like this whole neon green gaming thing that's going on with it. If they made it a sensible looking phone, I would have preferred it a little bit better. But yeah, it's an absolute beast. It's an absolute beast. So 2,800 milliamps for a €1,100 phone when Apple updates decreases battery life. Hey Cap, Yes. Yes, that's... I mean, what can you say about that? What Apple did? There's absolutely no defending what Apple did a few years ago, or I say a few years ago. It was only a year or two ago, when they basically, people had been saying this for years, but they discovered with evidence that they had been decreasing battery life to force people to upgrade. Or decreasing, sorry, it wasn't decreasing battery life, it was decreasing performance. I think that's what it was. Decreasing performance and making phones slow so that people would upgrade. Rather than change the battery, they wanted them to replace their whole phone. And yes, that was a scummy move, and they got caught out, and their apology was to say, we'll let you replace the battery for £30 or whatever it was. Yeah, no defending that, absolutely no defending that. Although I will say though that the smaller of the iPhones, doesn't even have a 2,800 milliamp battery. That one only has 2,227. So yeah, but it's a valid point. You need to take that into account. I know I'm not trying to hate on Apple, but it was a scummy move. It really was a scummy move what they did. Simon, so tempted to buy the Xiaomi K30 Pro 5G Zoom Edition. You can get it for £420, obviously from one of them unreliable Chinese sites. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll say about Xiaomi is that they produce good phones and they're fairly priced. I would say they're fairly priced. Across the board, most of the phones are at a price that you would expect them to be. What did surprise me a few years ago was that the original Poco F1 is still being updated on a regular basis. They're still rolling out software updates. And that's something a lot of companies are not doing for older phones. Fastest phone in the world, the best resolution. Yeah, I talked about the Black Shark. OnePlus did a great job this year. I do like the OnePlus phones, and they are pushing the boundary, with the higher refresh rate phones and all that. I just think they're really overpriced because their phones are quite plasticky. Apple thinks putting the fingerprint on the power button is innovation. They don't actually have that anymore, do they? Am I wrong? They're not just a Face ID? I don't think they've got a fingerprint sensor at all now. The Motorola Moto G Power also has a 5,000 milliamp battery. There's actually quite a lot of phones. If you look in the Chinese marketplaces, there's a lot of really bizarre phone companies that have these large batteries. I get offered these a lot by Chinese companies. I get approached by Chinese companies asking me to review a lot of these kind of cheap phones. And the reason I don't is not because I don't want to review these phones. Because I think it would be quite interesting to look at a lot of these crazy Chinese phones. The reason I don't review them is that every time they approach me, for want of a better word, they're dicks. They're absolute dicks. Like, they will contact me on Facebook or through my website and they'll say, hey, this is this phone, and it's like £100 phone, which I would actually like to review on my channel. But they say, and I'm saying, yeah, I'll check it out. I'll do an unboxing and I'll show people it. Like, just kind of show this is the phone. And they're like, no, we want you to give 5-star positive review, tell the world it's amazing. I'm like, no, I've not even tested it. And if it's shit, I'm going to tell people it's shit. It's annoying. So that's why I've not went out my way to review a lot of these phones. I turned down one last week actually because the phone actually looked quite good. It looked like a decent little phone. And I said, listen, that phone's got Android 9, which is outdated a few years. I don't want to review a phone that's already outdated when it arrives. I want a phone that's at least up to date, which is the biggest problem with those kind of Chinese phones, is that you don't get software updates and then you're going to have to flash it yourself with your own ROM. Will you be getting the PlayStation 5? I'm leaning towards the Xbox. So historically, I've been in the PlayStation world. I'm not a PlayStation fanboy or anything like that. I remember trying to buy the first PlayStation 1 in the 90s, and the PlayStation 1 was sold out. So I ended up buying something else. And I can probably show you what I bought. But after that, I bought the PS2, I bought the PS3, I bought the PS4. But most of the guys that I'm playing Call of Duty and different games with, they're all on Xbox. So this is why. This is just connected to my PC, by the way. Right now I'm playing on like Steam and different things, but that's what I've been playing. on my PC. But I'm leaning towards the Xbox at this point. And it's not because I think one is better than the other per se. It's because that's where all the guys that I play with are on. That's it. Oh, there's a Me store in Shepherd's Bush, London. Ah, cool. That's good. It's good to see other companies doing well. Hi, Dan. I'm enjoying the 12 so far. Only marginally better than my old XS. Oh, that's interesting, Dan. How are you finding the front camera and the back camera? I'd love to hear what you think. In fact, give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll show you something. I'll show you what I bought years ago, right? So guys, so I thought it'd be interesting. I know this is completely off topic, but I've got it sitting over there. What I've done in my new office is I've set up a kind of gaming area for all my old consoles. So years ago, I remember trying to buy the PlayStation 1 and it was sold out. And I was going to wait, but then I opted for this. Look at this bad boy. The Sega Saturn cartridge input up there. I absolutely love this console. What have I got in here? I've actually got worms in there just now. This is what I bought in the 90s instead of a PS1. Technically I've got the PS1 up there as well. It's a Sega Saturn. I've got my Dreamcast and other things up there as well. And I just didn't buy the PS1 at the time. But I do have this. So this is something which I bought a year and a half ago and I've still never opened it. This is something that I'm going to open at one point on my gaming channel. These are all things that I'll cover on my gaming channel at one point. I've just not got around to doing it. So yes, this is the original PS1. Now, despite not owning the PlayStation 1, it is something I played all the time because all my friends had it, etc. The reason I went for the Saturn is, I remember the day I went to go and buy it. I had my money all set to go and buy it. They didn't have it in stock and they said it could be months, but they were running such good deals on the Saturn that came with Daytona and Virtua Fighter and, you know, all these other games which I loved. And I never regretted it. The Sega Saturn was a great console. I loved it. I've got the Mega Drive over there as well, and the Mega Drive Mini. But yes, I'm going off topic, guys, but I do like the look of the PlayStation 5. I've got the PlayStation 4 sitting downstairs, but I'm leaning towards the Xbox. That's what I'll probably go for, just because that's what my friends are on. And it just makes more sense for me to get the console, or the guys that I play games with. I mean, through another friend, I've kind of become friends with other people who play the Xbox, and it just makes it easier to be on the same platform. Because a lot of games still aren't cross-platform, which is annoying. There's a lot of games coming out that not only are not cross-platform, they're not cross-generational either. So, for example, the new FIFA, if you've got it for Xbox and your friend buys it on the new Xbox, you can't play with each other. And obviously in the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 users can't play any Xbox owners. Yeah, I like the look of all of them, to be honest. I don't think it really matters. From a game playing point of view, really, as far as PlayStation 5 versus Xbox, buy the ones that your friends are playing. Really, buy the ones that your friends are playing, and just speak to your friends before you buy it and say, what ones are you going to play, guys? And buy the one that the ones that your friends are playing, because a big part of owning a games console in 2020 is buying the one that your friends are on, because you'll be playing with your headphones and your microphone and all that. Oh, I love the Switch as well, Arsenal. I've got the Switch as well. My wife's sister's got it just now, but I love the Switch as well. And I need to get the Switch back from her because the new Mario games are out. So, yeah. So, I'll be interested. There's a lot of good things coming out. I'm going to be hemorrhaging a lot of cash. And this is why I need to pick and choose what phones and all that I get selectively, because from my end, if I think about all the equipment and stuff that I need to buy over the next 2 months, not even thinking about all the stuff I've got in the house, I've probably got another 2 grand or 3 grand of stuff to spend money on. So it's yeah, I need to start being selective. And I don't have a bottomless pit of cash like a lot of the top YouTubers do. So I need to be a little bit more selective as to what I get. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the new Xbox and the PlayStation 5 and all that will be like. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Yeah, so I'm interested to see what the iPhone 12 is like though. Darren, what did you go for the iPhone 12 rather than the 12 Pro? Is that the one you've got? Are you on a contract? How did you get it? I could maybe, could I really show you that? Nah, I'll show you that another time, guys. I'll do a video on my other channel and I'll show what my gaming setup's like. I still need to set things up. I'm trying to get something where I actually set it up yesterday. I set up a shelf over there and I was planning on putting my PlayStation 3, my Wii U and some other older consoles there. My idea is to have them either on display or connected. I don't know. But I've not really found the right piece of furniture yet, because the problem in putting it there is you start seeing it in every single video. I think the camera on the Pro would be wasted, to be honest. I think so. The extra camera on the 12 Pro is, hold on, I'll get that. Like, so I've got the 12 here. So the extra camera is the telephoto, isn't it? Yeah. So the extra camera, if you get the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, the extra camera is this telephoto, and you can take photos in RAW, which really doesn't bother me. This could be a big issue though. Image stabilization could be a big issue as far as if you're recording videos with the back camera. The digital zoom is obviously higher because of the telephoto. I'll need to look at more. To see. For me, again, the most interesting, relevant thing to me is the front camera, and it's identical in all the phones. So for me, that's less of an issue. What I did find out the other year as well, I remember comparing, like phones like the Huawei P30 to the P30 Pro, where there's like one's got one less camera, and there's certain situations because of the telephoto lens where one phone looks so much better than the other, but 90% of the time you really can't tell a major difference between the phones when you're talking about videos and photos. So yeah, Arsenal, I'm the same. I'm leaning towards the 12 mini because of the form factor and because the front cameras are still good and all that. Rubbish at taking photos. Yeah. Doesn't the 12 Pro have the LiDAR camera? Yes, it does, Ultra. But it's not something that interests me. I really don't care about it, if I'm honest. Not on a day-to-day basis. Darren, it feels lighter than XS and the screen is stunning, but it's not a massive difference. No, I don't think it is. I think, if I remember right, the 12 and the 12 Pro have obviously got a 6.1 inch screen, but the 12 is 30 grams lighter. Was it 160 grams? I'll double check that for you, but I think it's about 160 grams. Is that, where's the weight? Where's the weight? Weight. Weight may vary. Okay. Yeah, 162 is very close. 162 grams and then 133 for the mini. But I think it's quite interesting that those two phones, the 12 and the 12 Pro, are the same size, and there's such a weight difference. What's that? 25 grams. And the Pro Max, 226, so it's a lot heavier. I'm trying to think, what was the weight of mine just now? Mine's is 219, so yeah. I'm trying to compare what I've got just now. So yeah, I'm leaning towards the mini here just because of the weight and the size and all that. I like the idea of the smaller form factor. And if I get, I'll maybe try and look at the battery case to see if there's something that can address that. Samsung have basically made a screen with 10,000 ppi. That's insane. What would you do with that though? I mean, at what point can the human eye even detect these kind of differences? I was a little bit annoyed by the power brick, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, it is because they've not made it a little bit cheaper, and they've removed like they used to put in wired not the AirPods, but they put in earphones, wired earphones, and they put in the power adapter, and they've removed those, and they've not reduced the price. But the biggest issue I had with it is that they tried to sell this as a positive, as if they were helping the environment, which is a lot of crap, because if they really, see if Apple really cared about the environment and they wanted to help the environment, they would change their iPhone Lightning port to a Type-C port, which is what governments across the world have asked them to do multiple times, because it would save them tons and tons of electrical waste, technology waste, and they did not. So that's the thing that annoyed me with that, is they're trying to market this as if they're trying to help the environment. They're not. They're trying to sell accessories. That's what they're trying to do. And that's the one thing I'll say about Apple, and it's the one big negative about anyone who buys an iPhone, is the price of accessories is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And it's something I'll have to wrap my head around when I buy the iPhone 12 mini. No company can beat Samsung's phone displays. There's a few companies out there doing good displays, but I would say, generally speaking, Samsung are known for their good displays. Yeah. Hi, Marcona. Xbox Series S. I think the Xbox Series S is fantastic value, but from my own selfish point of view, although it does, I mean, there's a part of me that thinks maybe I should get the PS5 and then just get the Xbox Series S, and then I'm good to go. But if I'm going to own this console for like 6-7 years, why not just get the one that's a little bit more expensive? The Z Flip phone was amazing. It was something unusual. Yeah, that's true. And they went something different this year with the Z2. What mini storage? So Dan's asking, as far as storage goes, the mini, if I can get to the mini page, the mini comes with 64 gigabytes of storage, which is not enough. It's really not enough as far as storage goes. I don't think it is. I'm still not sure of the colour. I was thinking about getting the red, but looking at pictures, it looks like the red is peach in a lot of these videos. So I don't know, maybe black. I'm actually I'm tempted to maybe go for white. Simply because if you put a case over it, you'll see white, and I think white contrasts with cases a little bit better, because you can then just get a red case and it'll match with the white, or get a green case or a blue case or whatever, and it matches with the white. So I'm not sure what to get yet. I'll need to have a think of the colour. But as far as storage goes, I don't know. 128 is what I've used the last few years, and looking at what I've used with the last 3 or 4 phones I've had, 128, I think I've used about 80 in this already. So I think 128 would probably be enough for me. And there is a temptation to just pony up an extra £100 and go for the 256. I think I can use cloud storage and things like that to get around that. So I don't think that's an issue. So I'll probably go for 128, I'm thinking. Right, okay, you went for the blue. I think the blue looks good as well. What I will say though, I mean, to go back to what I was saying, you know, I've been in the Android world for a while now, and I'm so used to, you know, paying like £12 for a case, £15 for a case, and different things like that. It's going to be an eye-opener for me to go back to the Apple world, where before you buy an accessory, you need to oil yourself up and prepare yourself to be absolutely shafted by Apple's ridiculous prices. And I know there's going to be third-party accessories available for Apple as well, you know, for the iPhone, but I mean, those tend to be expensive as well. To go back, see what you're saying with the colours though, Dan. If you look at it, I think the white seems to contrast better with cases than any other colour. So unless you know, blue phone with blue case, red phone with red case, I think white is maybe the safer option for me, so that I can contrast it with a nicer case. But what I would say though is a lot of these accessories are so expensive, just annoyingly expensive. I mean, look at that little leather wallet, £60. The irony being that for you to actually put your bank card or credit card on your phone, you need to pay £60, and this thing apparently falls off a lot. £49 for a silicone case, £50 for a silicone case. There's silicone cases on Amazon for other phones for like £4. £50. It's insane, and it's one of the annoying things about the Apple iPhone world. And I know myself, when I get this phone, I will be tempted to buy the Magsafe charger so that I can use it, because it does look useful. And I will want to buy one of these cases because I do want to still use Magsafe in a case. But it's annoying how inexpensive they are. And these, like, I talked about this at the start of the video, but you know, I saw like the official case that came out. This is the official iPhone case. It doesn't even have a cutout for the microphone, which you sometimes see with third-party companies, but you know, that's an official Apple case and it doesn't have a cutout. And I saw someone else talking about it here as well. That's 2 days old and an official Apple clear case, and it looks crap as well. They said the plastic's breaking on the inside. So Apple are charging a premium for all their products regardless of the quality of them. So yeah, there's things like that do annoy me about Apple, but that's the premium you pay. That's the premium you pay for the world of Apple. You should get nano leaves. I had a look at them, Ultra. I'm not sure if we'll go down that route. I do need lighting at the back. This is so shadowy. It looks terrible. I do need it. And right now, I mean, I don't want to go into the logistics of my room too much. It's not ideal from a recording point of view, because if I go forward more, you start to see the blinds, which are over here. So I need to get curtains for those to get them out of the way. And if I go more further away as well, you can see the door and things. So this seems to be the best location as far as not showing you too much. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards acoustic panels and things like that in the background, just from an acoustic point of view, because that's too echoey. I'm not happy with the sound. Get a Rhino Shield case for that price. Oh, Darren's got the Samsung Galaxy A20. Oh, okay. Well, that's quite. The A range is quite good value from Samsung. Well, relatively speaking, compared to their S range. Spiking case for iPhone Mini for £8. Yeah. Well, to be honest, that's the thing. I'll probably go towards a third-party case. I probably will, because I mean, £50 for silicone cases are cheap. They're cheap to make. They're like 50 pence to make. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just crazy money. Get some nice Philips Hue. Darren, that's on my Amazon wish list. The one with the 2 bars. That's something I'm leaning towards. I mean, I do have other accessories. You can't see this, but I do have. It doesn't even really show up in the videos. But I do have like LED lights down here, which I can change the color and make them flash and do all that kind of stuff. I've got these kind of things already. I like the Philips Hue things. I think I will. Those are on my Amazon wish list. I'll probably get those. Will you miss the headphone socket if you go for an iPhone? Hi, Tony. No. Yes, well, yes and no. From a phone user's point of view, I won't use it, because the earphones I tend to use with my phones are wireless. Like, I've got Bluetooth headphones and stuff. Where I will miss it, because I've got the headphone jack there. Where I'll miss it is if I'm recording a video with the phone, I can't just plug a microphone directly in. I need to use a USB Type-C to 3.5mm adapter, which I do have, but it means that you can't charge it at the same time. It's not a deal breaker, but yeah. Govee strip lights. I'll check those out as well. Thanks for the tips. I'll need to check those out. I do have a lot of ideas. I'm kind of doing it in a stage process, if that makes sense. In that, for example, once I get this on today, if I get this on tonight or today, once that's on under the desk, if I get that way, once this is on, then I can start tidying the cables at the back, and then I can start thinking about storage for the consoles, and then I can start thinking, okay, do I push the desk back? Do I move it over there? Do I do different things? I've got a lot of ideas for different things as far as how I set up my office, but you know, a lot of the ideas I had were about putting things to the ceiling or attaching things to the wall. But I'll be honest, see, after spending 2 months of fixing holes and painting over holes and sanding, I really don't want to touch the walls now. I really don't want to touch the walls. I'm trying to think of a solution where I can move it around without drilling holes in the wall. So we'll see. What server rack did you steal that from? I know it's ridiculous. No, it was well, I say only, it was £56. But what I'm going to do is place it under the desk, because I can't put it in any other part of the desk, because I can't show you a plug to show you. The reason I can't put it in any other part of the desk is because, you know, you put it at the top of the desk, and then this part, you know, that part there starts going up and it hits the desk. You put it the other way, and then different adapters. And that's the thing about, again, you guys can't see this, but under the desk I've got all the power adapters for the audio interface and the lights and stuff. But the problem is, a lot of plugs are like that, and they go up the way, like up to like there. But then there's other plugs which are like that, and they go all the way down there, which means that I can't put it a particular orientation. So I need to put it essentially facing the floor, so I can put it up there, and I don't have to worry. These are all like little things you get when you're setting up an office. It's like you always have to kind of make sacrifices with what you're working with, and try and work around, you know, the lack of standards on this. Yeah, it's just the way it is. You know, when I get that power, I do have different surge protectors, and I do need a surge protector, because even with a surge protector the other year, when there was a surge in electricity, I lost a monitor, I lost a couple of cards on my PC, and it didn't seem to protect everything. I'm hoping the surge protection in that is good. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be a kind of standard for doing these things properly. Another thing I'm trying to do around the house, and again, this is something that I've not spoke about too much. And again, it's difficult because I don't want to talk about networking too much, because I realise my audience doesn't care about it. Well, they don't want every single video to be about networks. But in the background, I'm doing a lot of networking stuff, as in, you know, I've got those LED lights controlled through Google Home. I've got my main PC, which I'm not pushing that button because this would all end, because that's powering the surge protector that's powering all of this. But the good thing about this one is that I can show you exactly how much power I'm using right now as I'm using this. I'm using 309 watts. It's quite interesting though. I mean, I've got a power LED thing that I plug in, and I can show the power usage and all that. But the problem with that is it doesn't sync to my phone. This does. And it's quite interesting when you're playing a game or you're doing something intensive, it shoots up like 150 watts because the GPU is working. But I think I'll tie up here, guys. I've been streaming for an hour and a half. It's been good catching up with everyone though. It has been really good. And yes, I do have some things to unbox in the future. In fact, I had something the other day to unbox. Now, this is something I will feature in a future video. So, and again, this is the thing that you don't always see on YouTube. A lot of things don't go to plan. This is something that was sent out to me. The ultra lightweight 4K vlog camera. Now, I spent 3 or 4 hours on Saturday unboxing it, testing it, and doing everything to show you guys what it was. And I did the unboxing, I did it all. I actually edited the video, and I was like, great. And then I was like, right, I'll add a part at the end, and I'll show people how it works. And then it's at that point that I discovered the bloody thing doesn't work. Doesn't work. It's dead on arrival. Doesn't work. So I've emailed them, and the company are going to try and send out another one to me. But yes, I got the smallest lightweight 4K vlog camera thing in the world. It is it's tiny. It's 30 grams or so. It is absolutely tiny. Did the whole video, and at the end I realised it's dead. It doesn't work. So what do? Do you do a video saying it's broke, or do you just... What I'm doing is giving the company the benefit of doubt as far as testing it, sending out a replacement. I still have this, which I'll hopefully get a review of this in a week or two as well, guys. I'll do an unboxing of this. This is a little handheld console that lets you play retro games. So that's something I'll do. I'll do the unboxing and do a video on this channel and on my other channel as well. So I do have some things in the pipeline. And just to show you, see the energy monitoring thing that I was talking about there? That is actually through this. This is how I'm doing that. the Casa Smart Wi-Fi plug from TP-Link. So that's just, you put that in the wall and then you put in your device. I don't know how useful it is actually in my office. It was only £15, so I wanted to try it out. But I'm trying to make everything in my house more automated as far as lights, as far as the network, as far as everything really. The Internet of Things, as they call it. But the energy monitoring aspect of it is pretty interesting. I do like that. So guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. I think I'm going to follow Darren's lead and get the iPhone 12. I am leaning towards the iPhone 12 mini at this point. It does seem like the one that kind of fits in with what I want. Smaller form factor, etc. There's obviously issues here with regards to battery, and it wouldn't surprise me if in 3 weeks' time, you shouldn't be surprised in a few weeks if I do a video where I'm talking about how bad the battery life is on the iPhone 12 mini. It is something I need to be prepared for, because I think, Apple gets a lot of hate from Android users, and a lot of iPhone users don't appreciate what's available in the Android world. I think Apple does well, as far as they produce nice screens. I think the phones look premium and they're built well. The one thing I think they've always failed at over the last 12 years, certainly in their smaller phones, is battery life. The Pro Max and, the kind of max range with the 6.7-inch screens, the ones that, are that size, those ones seem to be okay, but the smaller phones, battery life is always an issue. And that's definitely an asterisk and something I need to be thinking about when I pick up the iPhone 12 mini. But I'm really looking forward to trying it out. I think it's going to be interesting to see what it's like. I've not had an iPhone since the iPhone 4. I've had the iPad 3 and the iPad Pro 2017-18, one of those ones. So I've still had my feet in the Apple world a little bit because of the tablets, but it's been, 10, 11 years since I've had an iPhone. So it's going to be, I've been so tempted with so many Apple iPhones over the years, but I've just thought it's not worth the money. But I think I'm going to pull the trigger on this one. I think it looks good. So thanks for watching, guys. It's been a long stream. It's been about an hour and 40 minutes or so. It's good to catch up with you all. There's certain types of videos that I do that it is better for me to edit them to cut down the time. But videos like this, when I want to talk about a subject, I do like doing them live. So it's been good to catch up with you guys. And yeah, hopefully I'll do another live stream soon, guys. And I'll do a video about the Apple iPhone, and I'll get some more products to review. I'm still busy with my house, unfortunately, the joys of being an adult, and I still have real work to do to pay for all this. But I'll do some more live streams in the future. If there's anything you want me to cover in the future, or even if it's just some phones out or something out that you want to chat about, let me know, guys, and I'll try and accommodate you all. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Yeah, stay safe yourself, Ultra, and everyone else. I do appreciate you all tuning in. But I'll speak to you all very soon, guys. It's been a pleasure. Take care.